Let's see how we're doing. Looks like we've gone live for the evening. Hope everybody's doing well. And everybody is hopefully excited for some fresh snow because Revelstoke is forecasting plenty. Yeah, it's been a quite a different week from the previous, and as the title, as the thumbnail suggests, winter is going to be hopefully returning to Revelstoke. Just to backtrack a little bit, actually, from the start of the week, we actually had a surprise snowfall on Monday night and Tuesday, with a surprise 12 centimeters on that Tuesday morning. So that fell mostly at the top of the mountain and led to a nice top up really in those bowl areas, and some really good reports of some fresh snow. We've had a couple of dry days in the middle of the week, but then things have really kicked into gear as of last night, where we had 7 centimeters. It has been snowing constantly all day on the mountain today. I got a little taste up there for a couple of laps, and yeah, we're going to get into a bit more of detail of what the current conditions are like, and also the forecast, because next couple of days it's really exciting. I've been cautiously optimistic all week, half expecting the forecast to change, but it's stayed constant. So I hope everybody's well. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday evening. I can see there's a couple of people already joining the chat, so make sure to get your comments and questions in the live chat section. I'll, of course, read them out. If you're in Revelstoke currently, or if you're coming, let me know. Be keen to hear your thoughts, especially. So, okay, Saturday the 24th February, snow report. We've got a base depth of 177 centimeters right now at the top of the mountain. In the last 48 hours, we've received 16 new centimeters. Over the past week, it's a total of 34 centimeters. So we are getting that snow. It is sticking to the most part to the top of the mountain. The freezing level right now is hovering around 1,300 to 1,200. So in terms of where that is on the actual mountain itself, it's below the Stoke chair. I'm going to say probably sitting around the connection of Devil's Club and Fast Fred's, if anybody knows where that is. Below that, just to sort of put things into context straight away, the lower mountain still needs a lot of rebuilding. Yeah, lots of hazards on that lower slopes, and it felt quite spring-like in those lower sections today. Earlier in the week, it had been cold enough, and they've been making some snow on the last spike, but the warmer temps have been down in the valley for the last day or two. It was +3 in the town. It was pouring rain while it was snowing up on the resort. So yeah, everything above that point of about 1,200, 1,300 meters has been heavy snow all day. I got in 3 laps on my lunch break today. We first of all did starting off on pitch black, and then playing in some of the glades areas above the gnome zone, which felt awesome. Some real nice soft powder. It is busy right now, just to put that into context. Like there's a lot of people here. It's the February holidays, if you will, and I guess with only a few resorts in BC actually with what we consider good conditions this year, everybody I think is congregating in these handful of resorts. So yeah, Revi was quite busy, and by sort of the afternoon when I was doing these runs, the snow was a little bit pushed around, but as it was still snowing all day, so things were filling in. There is wind in the forecast as well, which I'll get on to. Other 2 runs that I actually did one into Separate Reality. The thumbnail picture of this live stream is from Separate Reality Bowl from today, just so if you're wondering where that picture is. And yeah, that was a good run. Separate Reality was looking good. I didn't have the time to head over into North Bowl or to the Ripper and try the glades on that side. But that'll be certainly one of the objectives tomorrow when I get up there for a full day of filming. The third and final run that I did was actually a bit of Clyde's Secret Glades on the top there. Again, some really nice soft snow. Not as tracked out actually. I mean, and with the wind coming from the south, it was blowing all the new snow into that area. We moved a little bit in between that and then the actual Devil's Club run. Once we started to get lower down, the conditions really did transition. And yeah, like I say, as we sort of get to that merge point with Devil's Club and Fast Freds, heading on to the low section was where there's this thick layer of cloud and fog, and once you get into that, then the warm and wet weather is sitting underneath. So, yeah, like I said, bottom section is still very very spring like, and we could do with a snowfall at some point that is going to really impact those lower slopes. At the moment, a lot of it is confined to the top sections of the mountain, but we'll take any new snow at this point, right? So, as I say, we've had 16 centimeters in the last 48 hours. The forecast for tonight, there's going to be a little bit of light snow, again, falling above 1400 meters, alpine temperature of -4. They're predicting about 4 centimeters tonight. Yeah, with that wind coming from the west, actually 30 to 40 kilometers. So, not it's a that's a little bit angled from our normal wind, which we get from the south, that brings in more of that snow. But that's where the shift comes in tomorrow. Things kick up again big time. They're forecasting 20 centimeters just for tomorrow. That's huge. It's massive amount of snow. We've not seen that for a couple of weeks now, so everybody is really chomping at the bit. I imagine the lift lines might be a little crazy first thing in the morning, but I am going to be aiming to get out there first thing. So, freezing level again tomorrow is going to be sitting around that 1300 meters. So everything above that is snow. Below that in the valley, a bit of rain changing to flurries, with that freezing level around 1000 to 1300 meters. So it's varying. But the biggest thing on top of the snow tomorrow is going to be the strength of the wind. So, they're saying that it's going to be averaging around 30 kilometers, but can be gusting up to 95 kilometers an hour. So, how frequent that's going to be, I don't know, but I would expect maybe some delays on the Stoke chair tomorrow at times, with that wind. Probably the better place would be on the North Bold side in the Ripper chair, where that's actually going to be quite sheltered, you'd hope. Um, and all the new snow will blow in there. Now, the question there is what's the avalanche situation going to be like tomorrow? Today, on the top sections of the mountain, it was considerable, with the new snow falling. I mean, I imagine tomorrow is going to be very, very similar. So there may be a delay of them actually opening those bowls. They may even not. It's really subject to what the conditions do. So, yeah, but big snow day tomorrow. 20 centimeters, freezing level around 1300 meters, -4 again, sitting at that regular temp. As we push into next week, the snow continues, but the temperatures are dropping steadily. So Monday, they're predicting an additional 8 centimeters. So if you add that up from sort of tonight onwards, there's potentially between 20 to 35, 40 centimeters coming above the top of the mountain. So, above 1300 meters. So lots of snow in the forecast. From Monday onwards, when that 8 centimeters is forecast, the freezing level will be dropping down to the valley. So that's good news for the lower section. Hopefully, some of that new snow falls. Tuesday at the moment is looking clear but colder, with a -18 low and a high of -13 in the Alpine. And again, Wednesday and Thursday, sort of just looking ahead a little bit, they're predicting potentially 10 to 15 centimeters all the way down to the valley. Now, that's quite a way ahead. So I think, you can take Sunday and Monday as a definite with the forecast, and then beyond that, we'll just have to have another look at it. Oh, we've got some people hanging out in the live chat, so let's go and see who is there. Brad is joining us from the Midwest. How's it going? Good to see you on the chat. It's our long-range forecaster. Glad to have you on. I'm seeing 20 to 40 centimeters between now and Monday morning. Yeah, it's looking it's looking good. It's looking really good. And like I said, been kind of like just keeping fingers and toes across the last few days, half expecting it to change, but no, it's been shaping up well. And yeah, just being up there on the mountain for a brief time today with the snow that was falling today, it was starting to fill in nicely. Felt a little bit like proper Revelstoke skiing. Um, and yeah, who knows? Like, I mean, the outlook for the next 10 days might be a similar trend to what we had last year where things start to come alive. So, uh, on most models, that's what we're seeing 20 to 40 centimeters. Some disagreements between a second wave of the storm could be hit or miss. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit far out, right? Like, I mean, it'd be great if we could get double whammy, but I think we revisit the forecasts on that from Tuesday, Wednesday onwards. But guaranteed decent snow at least, but if lucky, could be insane snow. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see how things go tomorrow because if those winds are problematic, there might be quite a high avalanche risk, and I don't know how. Maybe if they'll open much of the bowls, and maybe Monday might be a better Monday might be a better day. We shall see. I've been trying to get out and finally do some touring, and Monday we're discussing it again. But if there's this wind, there's going to be a lot of wind slab, right? So, um, Brad, let's go. You always big thumbs up for the snowman. We've been missing it. Are you getting any? Have you had any this week where you are, Brad? Have you had any snow? Uh, Tim Tarasco, hope I've pronounced that right. Which forecast are you using? I'm going off the actual resort forecast here, which is provided by WRDI. So I think they kind of focus on microclimate and mountain weather forecasting because Revelstoke has quite a unique. It is a microclimate in Revelstoke. Like things change at a dime, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, there's a couple of other different ones you could use. Obviously, like Avalanche Canada is quite a handy one for the backcountry enthusiasts. Windy, I know a lot of people use that to check the windy direction. Snow forecast seems to be a popular one out here, although us Brits don't rate snowforecast.com very highly. We've not really found it very reliable in European resorts, but that's just from my experience. I don't know. What forecast do you guys use? Let me know in the comments. Actually, it'd be good to we can compare and have a look at a few. By second wave, I mean Sunday night. Yeah, this Sunday it's, or are you talking about the following Sunday? But yeah, good again that I mean, I think the important thing is the freezing level coming down again, and hopefully we do get some snow lower down. Just because my concern right now is that the lower sections have just been taking a constant battering with this freeze thaw cycle, and just the base just constantly keeps getting chipped away at. And really it needs a good 15-20 centimeter fall that heads all the way down to at least the mid station, so that those mid-mountain intermediate runs can be shored up. I mean, I love being up at the top there, but you can really get some good riding in those glades and lower runs on a power day as well. No snow where you are, Brad, and going to be 70 later this week. Eesh. 70 Fahrenheit, obviously. What's that in Celsius? 21? Are you serious? Time to get the sun glasses out, Brad. But are you heading out to Colorado again anytime soon? And then, so this Sunday, possible second wave. Well, the forecast that I'm seeing is definitely saying 20 centimeters like tomorrow. But you're saying potentially a second wave coming through. Yeah, I mean, like I'm seeing a little like Monday looks pretty active as well. Like they're saying 8 centimeters on Monday with the freezing. It looks like maybe Sunday night, Monday, the freezing level is going to come down. if I toggle like the resort pet forecast to the valley, just things like yeah, next week looks a little bit more promising, but again, tonight, um, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain in the town. And then late in the morning tomorrow, snow rising to 1,000 meters. So it might drop down briefly overnight before going back up, and then a high of 6 in town. So, like, honestly, like, yeah, it doesn't look pretty in town right now, but above, it's going to get better over the next couple of days the higher you go. It was 20 here yesterday. All our 3 feet we accumulated is gone. Oh man, that's just yeah, not it's not nice to see it go. On the snow, you use on the snow for snow forecasting. Okay, don't think I've seen. Let's see what they're predicting as. Uh, yeah, and they're using. They've got all the they've got all the American metrics, but yeah, they're predicting a lot of snow over the next couple of days for us, so that's good. It's saying, yeah, second wave further south could hit Revi, but models disagree on how south it tracks. It might just miss Revi. I wouldn't be surprised. Everything seems to be missing Revi this year. Sounded like the south of BC, like super south, like Fernie has been getting hit. Freedom Rider, if he's on, he'll tell you they've been getting some good snow lately. No more Colorado for you now, Brad, but you're heading to Killington on Thursday. Nice. How's the snow looking in Killington? Looking good. Tim, I use the On Snow app and watch the Chris Toma videos. I think you've mentioned him before, and I've not got around to watching his videos yet. But yeah, people have said good things about him. 1 second here. Yeah, so at least, I mean, like, thinking positively, at least like Revi is getting some snow. It's not entirely top to bottom, but it's just been one of those years, I think, where the lower altitudes are just really suffering. I'm seeing a lot in the press now as well, like, because it's been, this is the peak holiday season, right? And everybody seems to be writing articles left, right, and center about everybody struggling. Snow is good right now in Killington. This week it will either get more snow or rain. Fingers crossed it's snow. Yeah, definitely fingers crossed there. That warm up was pretty rough for you guys, but still better than the East. Yeah, it's it has been rough, and I mean, if it stays how it is in the town, the snow will be gone in a week or two. I think if we keep getting rain, like, they'll all just get washed out in the town. But up high, it'll be, still be getting better. Yeah, just a crazy one. Apparently, the winter after one of these super mild years is meant to be really, really good. So, hoping I can be here in Revi for what should be a good powder winter next year. So, yeah, we just got to keep pushing through for the next few weeks. Blaze, yes, sir. It sucks out here in Ontario. We haven't had a single week yet fully under zero. Eesh. I thought there were some places on the east coast that were getting really hit with snow, or is that further north of Ontario? Thought I read somewhere that there were some massive winter storms like within the last 2 weeks. Projected to be a La Nina next year, or at least not an El Nino. I'll take a not El Nino any day, and a regular Revelstoke winter will do me fine. Basically, only J Peak in Vermont. Gotcha. Okay. Has anybody got any skiing in this week anywhere at all? Any at all? And J Peak is North Vermont. So, Tim, are you saying that they got snow there? Because, like I said, like I saw something there, and I thought, well, if there were any resorts within those areas, from what I heard, yeah, they'd be sorted for the rest of the winter with some of the accumulations they got. Yeah, yeah, but I imagine anyone on the East Coast has probably been flying into BC, into Revelstoke or Vancouver for this holiday period. Who's looking for skiing anyway? Vermont has been getting snow. Hopefully, it keeps it for a while. Utah has been getting hammered. When is Utah not getting hammered with snow, eh? That's on my list. I definitely want to go to. Someone keeps saying to me that I think it's in Utah. They said that if you like Revelstoke, they said you'll like Alta ski area, big mountain skiing. Tahoe also getting smoked. Yeah, I mean, it's not as much as last year, right? But um, yeah, it seems like those guys are definitely getting some snow. Utah is on our list for next season for sure. Anywhere in particular in Utah, Brad, or would you just sort of find a way or find travel one or two when you get there? I mean, Park City, I think, is like the biggest one, right? But then, I don't know, big resorts. It says looking out further, maybe one more warm up in March, but maybe better than the last one. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised. It's been so up and down this year. It has literally just been like a warm, cold, snowy, warm, cold, snowy, some sort of order like that. So yeah, probably we will get another one. Anyway, got to head out. Fingers crossed for 40 centimeters for you guys. You need it. Thanks, it's appreciate it. Always good to have you on. Um, Utah, we've got Park City, Solitude, Brighton, all close to Salt Lake City Airport. Yeah, I hear the Solitude side is maybe like a better one or like a less busier one than Park City. But Park City is supposed to be a huge area from what I hear. But it's on the Epic Pass. Yeah, that's true. How big is it? I'm curious. 7,300 acres of skiable terrain. That's a lot. That's like double. That's more than double what Revelstoke has. See, you're wearing the atomic ski hat. You see the new 120s. Are those the bent Chetlers? I think that's how you pronounce it. I think I saw a set. I know I saw a set of atomic skis on the mountain today, which did look. Did they discontinue those? Yeah, the bents. I saw a set which would, because we have a lot of those around Revy, and I saw it. It was like a white set. They were like they look gorgeous. I was looking at the tails of them while I was queuing for this the chair. Were they the Backlands actually? Maybe. No, I don't think that was them. But I mean, in terms of back to what you were saying, like actually the bents were one of the skis I was considering at the start of the year when trying to figure out um, the bent 120s. Ah, I can see them now. I'm looking on the website as we're doing this, Brad. Their new core profile. The artworks on the atomics on their free ride skis are awesome. Like I do. There's a lot of thought and effort that's gone into those. And yeah, I considered buying a set, but I went with the Dynastars in the end. This hat I think I got as a freebie with something. I can't remember what it was though. Park City was two different resorts at one point. Yeah, and then didn't was it? And then Vale bought it, and then they sort of built a connecting lift or two, I think. Yeah, the bets. I've been getting out a little bit the last couple of times out on the snow with the new boots and the new skis and getting a feel for things. The boots are starting to feel a lot more comfortable. I think when the tech guys put the Solomon shift bindings on my Dynastars, I think they cracked the dins all the way to the max. And I don't know, I kind of just feel like my boots have been like they're just like nailed to the ski when I'm riding on them, and I need to take it down maybe a notch and a half because yeah, I mean yeah, I need a little bit of breathing room on my dins. Is Revi good for intermediate skiing or not? I think so. I think so. I mean, the higher you go, the steepness the vertical gets people. But I think if you stick to the mid mountain groomers, there's three or four huge, wide, long blues which you could lap constantly, feel like you're traveling for eons on a highway, and you could be happy with them. I mean, Snow Rodeo, Fella Buncher, Woolly Bully, I've talked about quite a lot. There's some great intermediate stuff on the Ripper Chair side as well. Forget the name of the runs over there. But yeah, it is. And I mean, you know, there is some steepness and you do have to check the grooming report every morning, but it is a good mountain for intermediates, I think. And there's a designated area now for beginners, so if you have any kids or anything like that, they can learn pretty safely. So, yeah. But it's not like a large sort of these. It's not like a Whistler or a Sun Peaks where there's tons and tons of the lifts. There's a handful of lifts, but it's the amount of terrain that you have access to from those lifts. Yeah, like my brother grew up and he does a lot of European skiing, and you kind of realize when you moved out. When I moved out here, I realized how spoilt we were in Europe because there's just so much terrain, so much infrastructure, and yeah, it's quite easy to be very lazy. I think when you're skiing out in these European areas, but when you're out here, it's big mountain skiing, and you appreciate the skiing side of things. And so, you know, the lack of lifts at a resort is not a big deal. Certainly hasn't been to me because of the quality of the snow that you get here. That's one of the main unique selling points of this awesome destination. I love it. I love it. I think it'd be strange going back to a European ski resort now. I'm going to a big ski area and seeing restaurants on every skis corner and everything. I miss the après a little bit, that's for sure. Uh, European snow quality isn't as good. Well, it's different. Like, so you certainly don't get as much as you do out in British Columbia. Like a good winter season in Europe, depending on the altitude, would be maybe 3 or 4 meters over the entire season. But the snow stays there a lot more when it falls, especially at the higher altitudes. I mean, you get a lot in places like France in particular, and a little bit of Switzerland and Austria, Italy. You have a lot more resorts that are higher, so hence why they keep that snow there. Yeah, but the one quality I would say about Europe, Brad, is the efficient grooming. Like everything's groomed. Do you know? Like because you get steep runs, but there's not as many as say something out here. So some of these, if when you come to Revelstoke and maybe not every single run is groomed. I mean that's because it's a challenging mountain and you can't do every single run on one night. But when they do groom them, it's great out here. But like Europe, everything's groomed like all the time, and I don't know, they have a lot more, especially in the big areas, right? They've got a massive cat crew. Simon Burgess seems like he's getting some freshies this season. Yeah, like he's gone from always providing us with Bluebird Day content, and now he's actually timing it so he's waking up with fresh snow as well. There's been some good stuff. And I've been meaning to watch his video. He's just posted one about Morillon in France, which I've done a little bit there near the Port de Soleil, and yeah, he loves that area. And um, yeah, that's I'm looking forward to watching that one. Actually, I'll probably try and do that after. Europe's, from what I gather, Europe's had a bit of a stop, like a start stop season as well. Like they actually probably had the best start out of everyone else this year, but then they went through a real warm period over the last couple of weeks, and I know a lot of places have been struggling. Um, but it does seem now that there's some new snow rolling in. So yeah, for any of our European watchers, yeah, good for you, and let us know how you're getting on in the comments, especially if you're watching this after the live is finished. Tim, what is your main resort in Europe? Ooh. Ooh. I mean, so my first, I mean, straight up, it would have to be the ski Welt in Austria. Ski Welt is a ski area of 9 connected ski towns with I think it's about 330 kilometers of skiing. Awesome area. About an hour and a half drive from Salzburg Airport in Austria. Awesome mountain scenery, incredible on-piste terrain, and there's some good areas like that you can do when they've got powder. The best thing about Austria is the quality of the food and the drink. It's not as expensive as somewhere like France or Switzerland, and the hospitality in Austria is fantastic. I loved it there. Everything is family run through generations, so there's a personal touch to it all. And yeah, they really enjoy having the foreigners there. Now, that place I love so much because that's where I did my second winter working. First winter I did was in the Three Valleys in France. That's about 4 or 5 areas, and altogether they have, I think it's 600 kilometers of skiing. It's a humongous area. I think it's the biggest in Europe. Highest pub in Europe over there, the Frog and Roast Beef. So yeah, if you want like maximum skiing for a trip over in Europe, you've got to go to the Three Valleys. Cheapest place you'd probably find to stay would be the resort of Lehman Weir in that area, like because you do have some bigger areas with Courchevel connected for the high end clients. Um, Maribel is probably the best, I'd say, I think, for sort of Brits and partying. But Val Thorens is the highest town on that, and that's got some really good après. But there's some other great places. I mean, Simon's not on tonight. He's probably fast asleep right now. But Samoyen is a personal favourite of mine in France, which I'd love to go back to. I did a lot of skiing in Leger and Avoriaz. But yeah, some lovely places in Austria. I'd highly recommend checking out somewhere like Kaprun, like Zalamzi, the Ski Armad Vargrain. Yeah. At some point, it'd be nice to go and ski somewhere and do and actually just have as a holiday again. Potentially looking at maybe Japan next year. To go back to Japan would be nice, but that's very early days right now. Just threw an idea out to some friends who are over in Australia, and yeah, maybe discuss that option next year. We'll see. Seems like Japan's had a good year. I don't know if anybody's been out to Japan this year. Uh, well, Niseko, Tim, that was where I did my third winter, so I worked in Niseko. Absolutely loved it there, and I would one day love to go back. If I do make a trip next year, I don't know how much time I'll actually have. Might be easier. We might be looking at just flying into Tokyo and doing somewhere like Hakuba, which I haven't done. I'd like to do Miyoko because I mean, like I've heard of it through a contact who, yeah, once did an interview on this channel. Actually, Neil, I think it was, and he runs a little accommodation out there, and it seems like a really cool little resort to go and check out. But yeah, no, and I mean, it'd be cool to go back to Niseko and see the development of the Hanazono side and how that's kind of grown. And yeah, my year that I went it wasn't the best winter by Japan standard. I think it was technically the worst winter in 30 years. I mean, they still had 7 to 8 meters, but it was the COVID year. So yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty at the end of that season. It finished early. I had to leave there around early March, and then went into a very long period then of not thinking I was ever going to get back out to the mountains. So, yeah, my Japanese experience was short, but would love to go back again. Hey Bram, in your opinion, Europe, NA, or Japan has the best skiing? What do you mean by NA? Sorry, Nick. But Japan, I mean, Japan for sure. I think is definitely unique in its mountain experience. You've got that powder, and then just being in a NA is in North America, right? I hear you. I mean, okay. There's a lot of factors at play. This is obviously going to be biased, but I do think that so far, I think North America has a good all round alpine experience. I think Europe probably is the best for big skiing, big like ski areas and après. Japan in the North Island obviously has its snow. North America has a lot of variety. I think that's a big thing in North America's favor, right? Is that you can have these big mountains like your Revelstokes and your Reds, but then you can also have these family-friendly resorts like your Sun Peaks and your Silver Stars, which are a short drive away. So a lot more choice, which is always good. For me, I think what ticks it is obviously when you're in a ski town, that is English speaking, there's a lot more opportunities for making connections, making friends, planting roots in a town, finding work, and yeah, like I mean, out of all the years where I've worked in the mountains, there's a lot more variety of jobs out here as well because everything is predominantly English speaking. In Europe, as a Brit, you would not be able to get a job as a lifty. Um, you'd get a job in bars on the basis that they were probably run by Brits, and they were the tourist bars. And then if you were a holiday rep for a tour operator, that's really about it. Um, it's kind of similar in Japan, but the programs are a little bit different. You'd have more sort of property, hotel style jobs, whereas like North America, it's everything. It's hotels, it's the restaurants, it's the bars, it's the everything on mountain. Ski patrol, lifties. So yeah, a lot more opportunity coming out here after all these years. I was really surprised by the visa program, and you get a lot more time and effort to travel around here. And so, yeah, I felt a lot more present while being here in North America. Whereas, like in a lot of those other resorts, you knew you were in Europe and Japan. My time there, you were only there for 4 or 5 months, and you knew that. So mentally, do you know what I mean? Like because I went into this always wanting to figure out how to make it long term. Yeah, it wasn't always like just have a good party for a few months. I mean, my first season was like that and came away absolutely skint, so I had to knuckle down a little. How often do you ski living in the resort? Well, Revelstoke is 10 minutes from town. From the resort is 10 minutes from the town. Typically, I'll get out 3 to 4 times a week. I work full time, so it is a desk job. It's 9 to 5, but I get a lot of. It's really helping me kind of plant my roots in Revi. I get 2 full days off, so Sundays and Mondays I always pick because those are what I deem to be a little bit quieter, and so I'm always out pretty much filming non-stop on those days. And then 1 or 2 more days during the week, if I'm on a shift where there's someone else, we'll stagger it and I'll take an hour or 2 hour ride break, just like I did today. Come back in and then finish the rest of the shift a little bit later on in the end of the day. So yeah, 3 or 4 times a week. Work sometimes allows me to get up on the slopes as well, which is always good. But yeah, I'm sitting on around 35, 36 days so far this season, plus a couple more from visiting Silver Star and Lake Louise. So yeah, given that it's actually not been the best season, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, Nick, we were talking about North America. I don't know, what do other people think? That was a really good question, actually, from Nick. He sort of asked me, in my opinion, what did I think was best? I've said North America. I've been in North America now the longest. I've only ever visited Europe, besides working for 2 years in different places. I've only visited it on holidays. Japan, again, like I'd have to go back and maybe spend more time there. Freedom Riders joined. Oh, hey, good to see you, buddy. Sorry for joining late. That's okay. I'll allow it. Fernie is looking like a very, in the short term, plus or negative 50 centimeters in the next 4 days, and then another storm cycle coming on Feb the 29th. Yeah, mate, it's exciting actually. The next couple of days, we're going to get a big snow day tomorrow with some wind involved. And yeah, little bits of snow either side. So glad to hear you guys are getting the same. Itz has left the chat now, but he was saying, yeah, there's a little bit of there's not a uniform agreement yet on when that second cycle is hitting, but if we get hit the week after, that would be awesome just to keep it topping up. But good for you guys down in Fernie. Yeah, very good for you guys. What is the visa status? Are you good to stay there then? No, I'm still in limbo right now. I'm on implied status while my work permit application is being processed. The implied status was keeping me here until March. I am following up, trying to get a bit of an update from the immigration services. So, yeah, it's it's been in the back of my mind for a while, and it's slowly coming to the front again because there was quite a stressful time in the fall where like things were quite touch and go, and I was waiting for confirmations on being put on implied status. So implied status basically means that while your application is being looked at, you can still work under the current same conditions and be in the country. So yeah, it's nothing's confirmed yet. I don't know. Maybe I hopefully if things go well over the next couple of weeks, I might put a little bit of a video on that. But yeah, that's yeah, it's increasingly playing on my mind, Brad. And I don't want to like put it off because it's a big priority, but there's only so much time in the days I'm having right now with work and just general life. And I'm, just trying to, beside outside of work, I'm just trying to squeeze so much in, finding it quite hard to balance right now. But yeah, staying positive on that front. Any plans of visiting another resort this year? Well, originally, I talked a lot early season about going out to Whitewater or Red. Um, that was something that was on my list. Now, with all the warm weather we had in January when I was initially planning to go, that I put that plan on hold. I've recently done my avalanche safety training level one and invested quite a bit of money in sort of backcountry equipment. So I am wanting to spend a bit of time on that. Um, I do maybe want to book some time off in March, just get a little bit of breathing space. Depending on how everything goes with obviously the visa stuff, because that's all linked to it. But if I can take a couple of days off, maybe either side of my day off, normal days off, I may go and do some backcountry touring somewhere within Rogers Pass, or who knows? Like, I mean, Freedom Riders talked a lot about Fernie. That's kind of piqued my curiosity. It's hard for me to make plans in a winter, to be honest with you, Tim, because my work revolves so much around actually the tourism trade, and really you don't kind of get to get any breaks and holidays until the shoulder seasons. Um, but then everybody in my friendship group's all getting married now, so yeah, any time that I do have off is probably going to be spent going to weddings back home in the UK. But yeah, Red I think I'd like to do, and then I we had a couple of guys on some previous chats where we were talking about there's like a cat skiing operation off the back of Red where you pay it's like $90 and there's cat skiing off the back of the resort, and you get 5 or 6 runs with that, and that sounded really appealing. That'd be kind of cool to maybe go and do like a 4-day trip and drive out that way, and I don't know, either base myself at one resort or do both. It would depend. I mean, yeah, Red's a little further than Whitewater, so that's something to factor in, and getting the ferry out. It's a long way to drive, obviously, 4, 5, probably 3 or 4 hours that way. Kicking Horse is, I mean, the nearest 2 resorts is Silver Star, which I did early season, and then there's Kicking Horse. I don't know what Kicking Horse's snow is like right now. They've not had the usual sort of winter either over there, but if they have some good snow and the Rogers Pass is not chocked up, that could be an easy trip for me to make one time. So again, potential options, but these type of things I can't really make plans for, or yeah, while I am full-time working. It's kind of like what I mean earlier on when I'm saying like it'd be nice to just go somewhere one time again, feeling that it's like a holiday rather than kind of based around work. We'll see. We'll see. I want to get out touring, but the risks to the avalanche right now is just, yeah. I mean, the terrain out there is changing all the time. So I really want to make sure when I start going out to touring, I go with an experienced group, we get it all right, and it's safe before we do all of that. So I've done a bit of filming on the training that I did, and I'm working on that and trying to figure out how to bring that out to a video of you guys. But I do have some footage on that. But yeah, moving into next week, it'll probably just be the regular ski vlogs from this Sunday, Monday skiing. So just doing a quick check of snowforecast.com because it is relatively trusted, shall we say, out here anyway. And yeah, at 1,300 meters from tonight, they're saying 5 or 6 centimeters, 15 centimeters at 1,300 meters tomorrow. If I change that to the top of the mountain, so the top of the Stoke, which is 2,225 meters, they're saying 8 centimeters tonight, and then they're saying like 23 centimeters. The wind is going to definitely be picking up in the afternoon. And yeah, and then it's going to start getting pretty cold, but still more snow forecast. And yeah, potentially Wednesday and Thursday, there's another thing rolling in. Yeah, Kicking Horse looks crazy steep. I've done Kicking Horse once or twice, but I'd like to explore it more, especially some of the stuff off the gates and the ridges there. When we were doing our AST course, there was this big online training module we had to do, and there was this in there was this case study they showed of an avalanche that took place in Kicking Horse a couple of years ago, and I forget the name of the bowl of it, but they said it's this really complex conditions, but really unprecedented avalanche that happened where just the entire bowl went. And this is in an area where, because apparently what they do in some areas in Kicking Horse is they invite a bunch of locals up at the start of the morning to actually hike up this section to, help I guess, sort of press down the snowpack. I don't know if this rings any bells to anyone. Like, be keen to know if anybody knows more about this. But apparently, they did all of this in this area, and yet still the entire bowl went. And then yeah, there's this guy sort of filming he's a snow patrol guy, and he's just showing the aftermath of this entire ridge line all the way around the bowl and all the snow, and it just collectively went. Um, yeah. Like little by little, I'm trying to learn more about that side of things with like avalanche risk. But yeah, Rocky, thanks for joining. Oh no, wait, sorry, missed that one. Rocky, thanks for the updates. How do I make friends in Revi? I just moved here, work from home, so can't meet people through the job. It's a little bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Hey, I mean, depending on what you do, I mean, there's a couple of places you can start. In terms of Facebook, there's actually a Facebook group called Revi Friend Finder. And if you're just starting to look out for people, with shared activities, that's always quite a good thing to get involved with. I mean, there's lots of groups like, non-for-profits and action stuff. If you're into outdoorsy kind of stuff, you could try the Alpine Club of Canada. They've got a local division here. If you're into ski touring, there's a ski tourers Facebook group as well in Revelstoke. And yeah, I mean, there's lots of sort of events that go on in town. I mean, if you check out the Legion and the Regent pub, those have trivia nights and they have quizzes, that type of thing. That's where I'd recommend to start anyway. Freedom River, Kicking Horse is steep, some great skiing, but it can involve lots of hiking. I've come to appreciate the hiking. We have to do that in places here at Revi, and I know like the city skiers probably don't like that type of thing, but I think like there's a there's a sort of a there's a rewarding feeling to doing a hike and then hitting some good pow off the top of it. Freedom Rider, would you say it's steeper than Revi, or would you say it's about the same? Kicking Horse is absolutely steeper than Revelstoke, in my opinion. Ooh, yeah, I'd definitely have to go uh, and head there. Now, I've only ever been to Kicking Horse twice. I went once when I was very, very young, and it was I remember it was a big, big snow day. It was like minimum 30 centimeters, and I remember us getting there, and I remember us doing a mogul run as a kid, and I swear to God, the moguls were bigger than me as a kid. Felt like I was sort of skiing in between these mountains of snow on a run with my dad. Um, and then yeah, I went there. Was it last winter or the first winter I was here in Revi? And it was a beautiful blue day, but it was like negative 25. That was the Albertan chill, which yeah, I did not enjoy. Uh, Tim, any idea when Revi is doing their big expansion? I remember reading online a few years back, but I guess it got delayed due to COVID. I'm getting this question like asked at least once or twice now on each live stream. I know a lot of people are kind of keen to know what's going on, and um, I know as much as you do, really. That I mean, they're busy working on staff accommodation and the new hotel at the base of the resort. But nothing in terms of. I mean, there has been one or two new things this year on the mountain that they built a new, uh, like what is bigger than a hut. It's like a big. Uh, they built a building for snow school at the top of the mountain by the Mackenzie Outpost, and they've kind of really put a lot more in um, the stellar area there. They've done some widening of a run over on the Ripperchair side, which used to be like a little bit of a snaky area, and it's now this beautiful wide part of a green run there. But in terms of like lift infrastructure or anything like that, no, there's nothing yet. They actually do have the information publicly available on the website, under development or something like that, so you can go check it out. But yeah, there's not been any movement there, Tim. Freedom Rider. If you ski Terminator 1 or 2, it's a serious boot pack and steeper than the sub peak. They have a rope to hold on to as you climb. Oh, I don't know. There's something about ropes and that type of thing. I don't know. If it's like a narrow, I don't mind a hike if there's plenty of terrain around you. But if it's a narrow section and like there's a cliff face off the side, like I've hiked the Revelstoke sub peak in summer, and that's a whole different story because you don't often. the way you have to hike up in the summer is different from winter. And actually, in the summer, you actually have to hike the ridge. And yeah, it looks very different. When it's all covered in snow, you just think, oh, it's rideable somehow. But then when you see steep cliff face and rocks, you go, eek. Yeah. I got time for a couple of more questions here, guys. If anyone wants to know anything about the conditions or anything with Revelstoke, been loving the chat again here tonight. I really appreciate everyone tuning in so much. Lots of regulars, some new people as well. Is the lower mountain getting filled in? No. It's quite the opposite, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's so the freezing level is around 1,300 meters. It's been pouring rain in town all day, +3 degrees in town, and yeah, it's taken a kicking again. Like earlier this week, it was colder, lower down. They were making some snow last weekend, so that was improving the last spike a bit, but yeah, it's just a lot of hazards again, especially on rodeo. Like it's shocking to see the lower parts of snow rodeo in the state that it's in, but there's nothing they can do about it. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's very spring-like right now, slushy, lots of tree shoots, rocks and stuff piping up. It needs 20, 30 centimeters and then consistent cold temperatures and some more snow. So yeah, it needs some. But like I said earlier in the chat, that with the snow we've been having today, top sections really improving nicely. Next week, I think the snow that's coming after this weekend is going to be falling lower down, so hopefully that will improve the things. And then with the cold temps, they can get out there. How is the snow removal for roads out there? Do you know they like when there's a big snowfall, they have quite a it's quite a large operation in town. I mean, Canadian streets and everything, it's all lines, right? It's all like straight lines, and so they obviously have a method there. But what they do is they go around and they do one side of the road, but they push all the snow in dead center of the road, and then they go down the other side, and then they push that into the center. So after a big snowfall, you're literally driving, and there's like this mountain of snow right the way down the middle of the road, and then they come out with one of those blowing machines and a big truck, and they just blow it all into the truck, and then they go and dump it in different areas. So yeah, it's pretty efficient on that front. Do you need chains or 4x4? Definitely 4x4. Winter tires, it's mandatory. I think mud and snow is fine, but definitely from like October to April sometime, like it's across BC, I think winter tires are mandatory. And that's why when it snows in Vancouver, it's a nightmare because all the city people don't get winter tires. Paul, thanks for joining. Just came back for a week at Revi and saw bike trail markers. Yeah, I was actually skiing parts of 5620, which is a blue bike trail. Is the biking any good there in the summer? Yeah, I mean, I'm not much of a biker, Paul. I'll be honest. I tried it for the first time last summer. Did the lower sections, but it's a big biking mountain. Get a lot of people come here for that. All the shops in town switch to mountain biking. They have lots of events as well. There's big female riding competitions out this way. Yeah, it is big. Any more news on the lifts proposed for South Bowl? Nothing yet, I'm afraid. When that happens, I don't know when it ever will. I'll do a big video on it. But yeah, nothing right now. I don't think there'll be any news on that. Not at least this winter, I don't think. Tim says recommendations for a BC family trip, preferably not Whistler. I don't like long lift lines. Honestly, for families, Sun Peaks is a good one, which is in Kamloops. So They have flights into Kamloops, but more likely the most regular would be um, Kelowna. But yeah, if you can fly into either one of those airports, yeah, yeah, those will be good. I mean, if you look up Sun Peaks, it's the second largest ski area in British Columbia behind presumably Whistler. And they don't call it Sun Peaks for nothing. Like it's if you go back to I think the season 4, my first season in Revy, there's a Sun Peaks video there, and yeah, I mean it was lots of grooming there, so really good for the kids. And yeah, lots of intermediate skiing. Yeah, if that's what you're after, Tim, I'd recommend Sun Peaks. What's the play for a big snow day like Monday? Well, I'm not going to give you too many secrets here, Rocky, but I would say um, definitely start up with a couple of warm ups on some of the groomers like Snow Rodeo or Critical Path. One or two, one or two tree runs, I think, on that south side. Depending on what the situation is, then with the bowls, like definitely heading over to Ripper and running some glades, and then see what happens, and then yeah, maybe hit some of the powder bowls if they open. I don't know what the bowls are going to do this weekend. I don't know if they'll open tomorrow with the wind. They were open today when I went up around 1 o'clock. Lemming Line was open. The other one below that, and then just yeah into like meet the they were all open. So even the sub peak was open, and it was puking snow all day. So yeah, they'll assess that I think in the morning for sure. Freedom Rider, Big White, and Silver Star are great for families. Panorama as well. Yeah, yeah, definitely Silver Star is another one. I mean, the one thing from my time in Big White, it's quite a big drive up there from Kelowna. Um, but yeah, a nice area I thought. And again, I only did Big White where at the start of the season, so they had limited open, so I can't really give a full assessment of there. But when I went to uh, some peaks at the end of the season, everything was still there, and it was quiet and yeah, really nice. And some peaks as a village resort seems quite a nice one to go out into and eat out and yeah, yeah. I mean, big white, Silver Star, some peaks they're all within an hour and a half drive of a major airport, right? So they all have big. There's a big tick in the box. So maybe do all of them, Tim, if you're thinking for a trip. But yeah, personally, I'd recommend some peaks. Some peaks is way more developed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's kind of like four little areas, all sort of connected round. You know, you're based in like a bowl, the villages, and then all the mountains are around you. And either way, you can ski over to each one or just come back down. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to go back to some peaks definitely if weather and things are there. The one tricky thing is that all of these resorts in this area they all close at the exact same time. You know, and I sometimes feel that April the 14th or like the second week of April, that's too early. So getting back to what Nick was asking earlier about better areas, Europe stays open later, especially the higher resorts. Like the Three Valleys, Teen, um, Les Arcs, these places. You'll be skiing there into third last week of April and getting some good spring sun. Yeah. But if all this snow keeps coming, we'll be looking to a good end to the season. So I appreciate everyone for joining in tonight. Thanks very much. Um, if you haven't already, guys, please do subscribe to the channel because we're very nearly to 2,000 subscribers right now. Thank you for joining the live stream tonight. Make sure to hit the like button. If you are watching this after the live finished, feel free to leave a comment in the regular section and I will get back to that. But I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend. I will be shredding like mad tomorrow and Monday, so the legs are going to feel it. Thanks very much. Enjoy the powder tomorrow, everyone. Hope everything's good down there in Fernie as well. Enjoy the snow coming your way, Freedom Rider. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening.